What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode, another week of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. A couple of stories came out from, we played it last week, Wednesday evening. You saw my live reaction from absolutely loving the PvE aspect of it to literally, I had to stop playing the game and go to EA's Battlefront 2 just to cleanse the palate afterwards. And then we talked about it on Generation X Gaming on Thursday night. We're going to talk about the FCC. They finally decreed that 25 megabytes per second and 3 megabytes per second are not broadband speeds. We're also going to talk about the leaks of Sony's PlayStation 5 Pro is up to 3 times faster. And then whatever else we want to talk about on today's show. If you like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. We just have conversations about news stories in the gaming industry and then random topics as well. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you'd like to go above and beyond that. Become a member as little as $5. What's going on, Eclipse? What's going on, Dave Rose? What's going on, Dolphin? What's going on, Z? Aspire has absolutely ruined the game at launch. Let me tell you, they've marked me, Rose. I am you if you watch Generation X Gaming, they broke me. Okay? So much so that I don't care what game comes out nostalgic wise. You know, I should have stayed tried and true to what I said to everyone else when you guys always talk about remasters and remakes and relaunches and all this other stuff. I was like, nah, but I fell for it. I fell for it. And you know what? I fell for it, but I didn't pay for it. I was going to pay for it. I was going to pay for it, and this is why I'm pissed off about it, right? They gave me a code for it, okay? They gave me a code for it, and I'm still this pissed. Okay? I didn't even pay any money for it, and I'm still this pissed. Okay? So, let's start off. Let's start off with the first story here. Okay, not that one. This one. All right, so Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. After a chaotic launch, Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection devs admit critical errors were made as it works to address multiplayer issues and increases network stability. Now, Aspire will continue to making improvements until the network infrastructure is stabilized. Here's the one thing my channel's always been about. Okay, it's about talking about and trying to help people not spend their money on broke, buggy, unfinished games. It doesn't matter if it's a remake, doesn't matter if it's a remaster, doesn't matter if it's a relaunch, doesn't matter if it's a brand new game. I try to tell people as much as possible about a game, right? I try to warn you, okay? Thank God I got a code. Thank God I played this. Thank God I showed people what it was so people could make a informed decision to be like, you know what, I'm not going to pick that up because it's a broke, buggy, unfinished game. My whole biggest thing about this industry is I love gaming, and yet gaming keeps getting shit on left and right, and we're not even talking about the SBI stuff. We're talking about just games coming out that are broke, buggy, unfinished, okay, and they just try to do something to get your money. Okay, so Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection developer Aspire has released a statement acknowledging the major issue that the game collection has been facing since the launch yesterday, promising the improvements of network stability are on the way. At this point, I don't care. At this point, I don't care. You worked on this game. 20 years it's been out. You can literally buy a better version of this game right now on Steam. You could play the older versions on your consoles from backwards compatibility, okay? And yet, they put this game out broke, buggy, less features, changed features, okay? And in a shittier version of the one that's already been out for 20 years. Amazing, okay? In the case you missed it, and the numerous players reported that the game collection launched and it was nearly as impossible to play in multiplayer modes, which is PC players struggling to grab one of just 192 spaces, right? Spread across 3 available servers, which is just insane. Some claimed for a time that there were no servers available at all for Star Wars Battlefront 1, making playing online in 2004 re-release's distant dream. Although more servers became available within hours after this, the damage was done. The Steam reviewers claimed that even if they were available, able to connect, the multiplayer experience was still very shaky. Okay. Now Through Aspire has spoken out about these problems, putting them down to the experience of critical errors within the network infrastructure at launch. Explains this results in incredibly high ping, matchmaking errors, crashes, and servers not appearing in the browser. Now, since the launch, quote, since the launch, we've been working to address these issues to increase network stability, and we'll continue our efforts until the network infrastructure is stabilized and prevent further outages. Sorry. At the time of writing this, Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection has fallen to an overwhelmingly negative review. I didn't even know that was part of the review process, right? Overwhelming negative. Okay, review rated Steam with 19% of 4,025 reviews being positive. It's just not just multiplayer issues. It has also been bothering players. Either has also been noted that the collection demands around 8 times more storage space. Can someone explain this to me? Can someone explain to me how a game 1 and 2 combined total was like, I don't know, 8 gigs, 7 gigs, 8 gigs to 60 plus gigs? Can anyone explain that to me? Is it the graphics? Let's see. For now, Aspire is asking the players to officially support the team request form to log bugs and issues. Nope, sorry. People paid $35 not to be a game tester. They paid $35 because they loved a game back from 2004, 2005. You can go shove it up your rear end if you think people are going to pay $35 to test the game for you because you didn't test your game. Okay? So if you're looking for Star Wars adventures to dive into, make sure you check out the top 10 best Star Wars games. How about this? How about just go buy the older versions of the 2004, 2005 era ones, not the remakes by Aspire. Okay? I don't know. Call me crazy. Okay? Here's a video I want to watch, right? I want to watch a video of how do you know the difference? How do you know the difference of? So I gotta add this person. We're gonna add their to the information in the description down below. Flan Drew here did the comparing the original Battlefront to the Classic Collection. This is a wonderful watch here. Let's see if you guys can see the differences between all of this. Let's raise the volume up for him. Okay, I watched this and I was just laughing. Okay, here we go.
And the Classic Collection, then you've come to the right place. Because in this video, I'm going to be looking at the old console and PC games and comparing them up against the brand new remastered bundle to highlight the differences, changes, and new additions, along with the unfortunate launch issues for the Classic Collection.
There it is. There's the servers.
Okay, let's start with the...
All right, so there it is. Look at the difference. It's much more clear there on the right side. So the one closest to me is the older version, original Xbox Series X, and the other one is the Classic Collection on the Series X 20 years later.
The console version, and then move on to the PC.
And then there's the Steam version, original, and then the Classic Collection.
Now, what I have here is the original Xbox version of both Battlefront 1 and 2 running on my Series X. Both these games are part of Microsoft's backwards compatibility game catalog, and this means the games are running at a faster frame rate with a higher resolution and auto HDR. You know, kind of like the Classic Collection. So what's the difference? Well, let's start with Battlefront 1. Now, the Classic Collection has upscaled all of the game's textures to 4K, but they're still the same 2004 textures, this time just a bit crisper.
Well, you could tell that the dinosaurs in the back there are a little bit more detailed.
Unfortunately, this does result in
57.2 gigs.
An almost 60 gigabyte download size. Now, the regular Xbox version of the original upscales it to 1080p, but because the upscaling is done in-engine, Battlefront 1 remains only 3 gigabytes in size, while its sequel is only 4. So on the left we have 7 gigabytes versus 57 on the right. The Classic Collection upscaling is most evident in larger open world maps that have big background scenery textures like or Geonosis. Compared to them, the original console textures look very low res and washed out, especially when playing on a big TV or monitor. However, one of the reasons for the Classic Collection's backgrounds looking so much better is because it uses the PC version as a baseline, which always had better textures. For example, here is the old Steam version of Battlefront 1 running at 1080p with the graphics settings maxed out, and here is the Classic Collection version of Battlefront 1.
Can you guys tell? There's option 1, option 1, option 2, option 1, option 2.
1080p with the graphics settings maxed out, and here is the Classic Collection version of Battlefront 1. Suddenly, the difference is a lot harder to tell. Now, the Classic Collection does have improved lighting, which is most noticeable on stages like Bespin platforms. In general, the colors and contrast are better balanced in the Classic Collection when compared to the console version. For me, the Classic Collection did also run at a consistently higher frame rate in single-player mode than the console version, but I did not notice any significant difference in draw distance or texture loading between the two versions. In fact, certain elements like grass have this gradual fade-in effect in the console version, meanwhile the Classic Collection would just have them pop in, but that also...
Ron Slusher says, Battlefront just needs an extraction mode with giant bugs and everyone will be happy.
There seems to be something that happened in the original PC version. Some of Battlefront 1's levels do look better than others when comparing both versions. For example, the original Geonosis looks very hazy and washed out when compared to the remaster, and the newer crisp backgrounds of Hoth do really stand out because you'll be spending a big portion of that level in the open. But then you get levels like Tatooine which look almost identical. In fact, the hot air effect from the original console version seems to be absent from the Classic Collection. Now, the Xbox version of the Classic Collection has altered some of the controls, most notably the Starfighters, and unfortunately there doesn't seem to be any way to reconfigure the mappings, at least on the console version. Now, controls aside, the gameplay itself seems unchanged from the original. The bots are still running around all over the place and the games retain their trademark.
Here's the thing that I wasn't going into this thinking they were like going to remaster the whole freaking thing, right? I was just excited. I was like, oh, cool. Because I owned it on PlayStation back in the day, right? I didn't own it for Xbox. And I wanted to play, because my son likes playing this. And I was like, oh, cool. I like playing the split screen and whatnot. With just the regular campaign and do the Galactic Conquest. And I was like, cool. You know, it's cheap. Now, it's on PC. And I could have purchased it for PC, but I was like, cool, it's coming back to console. My son plays it on Xbox. So he can play it on Xbox, right? So I was like, oh, I'll pick it up on Xbox. Now, I was very blessed because of what I do. I reached out, they gave me a code, and we got to play it. And I'm just so disappointed in what the game turned out to be because it's a shittier version of what was out back in 2004, 2005. And that's what pisses me off about this whole thing. Not only is it a shittier version, okay, but it's $10 more if you went to PC right now and bought 2004, 2005, 1 and 2, okay? You actually save more money. And if you just wait for those to go on sale, which they go on sale all the time, okay, you're getting less of a game for more money that works worse than the games that originally came out, okay? And that, to me, is a cash grab. Because for them to release a game to think that nobody was going to play it, because they marketed 2 weeks ago saying, hey, look, this game's coming out. They knew it was coming out. How did they not test this? I know.
Mark 2000's jank. And here we have the male X-Wing attempting to mate with the female. And this being Battlefront 1, you can of course park your starfighter wherever the hell you want. The loading times were always faster for the original game. All the 4K textures probably slow the Classic Collection down a bit. But can someone please explain why the Classic Collection has decided to replace the iconic two-tone chime to just playing the first chime twice?
Yeah, why did they change the sound? Is it something stupid because, like, they couldn't do it because they couldn't match it? Did they not care? Was it copyrighted? Like, what's the difference?
I'm going to talk about my online experiences with both games a little later. In the meantime, let's move on to Battlefront 2 single player. And this game did get a few more features in the Classic Collection compared to the first. The official description lists Jabba's Palace as the only bonus in Battlefront 1. Meanwhile, Battlefront 2 includes all of these maps, plus 2 new heroes that you can use in Assault mode. And yes, these are bonuses if you compare them to the original PlayStation 2 version. But every one of these was first included as part of the DLC for the Xbox version, which thankfully has been included as part of the backwards compatibility release, which means that both the original and Classic Collection versions have Kit Fisto and Asajj Ventress as playable heroes, along with a bunch of maps from the first game. But the novelty of these maps is kind of diminished in the Classic Collection because, well, all you have to do is just go back to the menu and boot up the first game to play them. Now, the Classic Collection does have XL mode across both the console and PC versions. This mode was first introduced on PC and takes advantage of the beefier hardware to spawn in way more bots across 3 of the biggest maps, which would result in these glorious scenes of chaos. And while it is limited to single player only, this is a genuinely great addition to finally have for console players. Classic Collection's graphical improvements do seem to be a bit more evident on Battlefront 2. For example, the higher textures and better lighting are noticeable in the Jedi Temple, but I did experience some strange lighting effects. Mace Windu's lightsaber is a lot
What is the size difference there? Why do they make it so fat? That's not a lightsaber.
thicker these days, if you know what I mean. That, and there were some weird flickering lights on Camino. Hey, somebody want to change the light bulb? The slightly better lighting effects were also noticeable in space battles. The Galactic Conquest map does look better this time around. I am glad they brought back the menus from the console version of Battlefront 2. The PC schematics always felt a bit lifeless, but the issue here is that they just ran some kind of upscaling algorithm on the pre-baked background instead of making a new one, which resulted in some very crispy looking Rebel pilots. Okay, so that's the original Xbox version with some in-engine backwards compatibility upscaling up against the Classic Collection, both running on Series X. But what about the PC?
Well, now he's comparing the older version, 2004, 2005, on Steam compared to the other version that just came out, the Classic Collection.
Here is the original vanilla Steam version with all the graphics settings set to max compared to the Classic Collection on PC. And, well, there seems to be even less of a difference this time around.
Well, did you see the difference? You guys saw the difference, right?
PC. And, well, there's
there's no difference. What's going on, Argus?
Seems to be even less of a difference this time around. In fact, let's play a game. I'm going to show you some footage, and you, dear viewer, have to guess if it's from the original Steam version or the Classic.
All right, that's a good.
Show you some footage, and you.
Okay, so this is one. What is this? Is this the old original Steam?
Dear viewer, have to guess if
or
it's
is
from
this
the original Steam version.
I'm
or
going to say this is the new one.
The Classic Collection. Okay, here we go.
Okay, game one. That is... Hold on. Game one.
Now, how about this one?
Game two. That is the older one. That's the old one. Game two is the old one. Game one is the new one. That's what I'm going with. Let's see.
Now, how about this one? Well, here's the...
I was wrong. No, wait a minute. Game one. No. That's wrong. Because hold on a second. He says game two is the original. Oh, I was right. No, I was right. I said game one is the original, right? Yeah. Because it's got the more. Oh no, I said. Wait a minute now. Now I'm confused. Yeah, game one is the original.
Now, how about this one?
Yeah, see, because this you can see the detail missing from here. I thought game two was the original, and it's the opposite.
Well, here's the answer. Okay, let's try it one more time.
All right, game one. All right. Is this the original or the Classic Collection? Okay,
We've got this
game one.
And this one.
All right, game two. All right. We say game one. Game 2. I mean, it's so freaking... I'm going to say Game 1. Game 1 is the original. Game 1 is the original, and Game 2 is the Classic Collection.
One. And this one. And here it is.
I got it. You want to know why I knew what it was? And it had nothing to do with the graphics. Nothing to do with the graphics. Do you guys see the difference between 1 and 2? I saw it, and I was like, oh, I can see it now. That's exactly right, Titan. The UI. You can see the UI is this fat, much bigger in the UI, where this is much smaller. Yeah, that's exactly what looking visually, I can't tell the difference. I can't tell the difference.
Did you get the right answer? With that being said, both versions currently cost £8.50 on Steam, which means you can get both for £17 versus...
Yeah, look at the difference, right? The UI here is much smaller now, but this is fatter in the thing. £17, right? Which is like, what, $20 US? Right?
Versus the Classic Collection, which is £29. And I have seen the originals go down quite a bit during sale season. Okay, let's talk about multiplayer. Now, the Classic Collection's big selling point was online play, which was still alive and...
Oh, the lighting's fatter?
Kicking on PC, but has been dead on consoles for years. And it was a pretty major selling point because the original games were great fun online back in the day. And so, ever since the announcement, the fandom waited for the Classic Collection with bated breath, hoping to recapture the feeling of the good old days. And then the game came out. Now, as of the making of...
You heard they're going to delist the OG? This is what I hate, right? If that's true, Titan, right? Make the problem, sell the solution, right? Right? The problem is this game's shittier, right? And they're like, well, no one's gonna buy this, so let's get rid of the older one, so they have to buy this one, right? That's scummy.
This video, the Classic Collection has only been out for about 48 hours, and already it feels like me trashing the poor multiplayer experience would be like beating a dead horse. The internet went hard this time. I haven't seen excitement turn into backlash so...
The solution is the case, is the problem. Yes, absolutely right, Water. All my friends have negative review of the Classic Collection because of all the coverage about this, terrible servers and performance. It is absolute... Okay, you can literally go watch my stream Wednesday evening, Argus. When I was playing just against the NPCs, no issues, right? Very little. During the actual... I was like, you can see, like, I think it was like match 2 or 3. I thought my auto assist aim was on, right? And then I went to the thing and it wasn't. But it was like it was like forcing me off. And I was like, what is happening with this? But in the very beginning, okay, in the very beginning of me playing, I was like, oh, this is cool. And that was the nostalgia kicking in, going, oh, it's like I never left like 20 years ago. And I really enjoyed it in the PvE aspect, okay? But then I went into the multiplayer, and all of that went out the window. I was just like, what is happening right now? You could not hit... You could see me fighting somebody. We were like 5 feet from each other. Nobody could hit anybody. None of us could hit each other. Okay, and then when I was hitting someone, it wasn't... They could take a rocket to the face, and it wouldn't kill them. It was terrible.
So quick since, well, EA's Battlefront. As for my experiences, I tried playing online both on the Xbox and PC versions. On launch day, I did get kicked from both quite a few times and experienced my fair share.
No, I haven't watched Angry Joe.
And from what
I was Angry Mike at the time, and I haven't watched any of the stuff over the weekend for this.
I read, my experience wasn't as bad as a lot of people's, but it still wasn't great. It did improve on the second day, but there was a lot less people playing then, so maybe that's why. Now, Aspire have already made a statement saying they're going to work to improve the online experience, but I think by that point, a lot of people would have either moved on or just got a refund. Now, connection issues aside, my biggest issue was the region-locked servers. Me and fellow Star Wars enthusiast Neosci spent an hour trying to find a common server, but me being in the UK and him being in the US, it just wasn't possible. possible. So instead, we loaded up the original version of Battlefront 2 where we were able to play together instantly. My other issue was with the game's local multiplayer. You see, growing up,
Here's another thing, right? There was 4-player co-op in Star Wars, and now there's 2-player co-op. They literally took stuff out of the game. There's less stuff. Like, how hard? Again, I'm not a game developer, but this game was already made. Game was made, right? I saw on Twitter there was modders out there that were showing that the actual game is missing code. Missing code.
My best Battlefront memories were actually comprised of going over to friends' houses and playing Galactic Conquest on split screen. And so, as soon as the Classic Collection got announced, I messaged my friends and arranged a meetup day of launch for old time's sakes. You know, because I foolishly assumed that the Classic Collection would have 4-player split screen, like the original Xbox version had 20.
Right. Idiots like us thought we assumed. You know what happens when we assume, right? Makes an ass of you and me. A game that was 20 years old had 4-player couch co-op, and a game in 2024, nah, can't do it.
Years ago. Unfortunately, the Classic Collection split screen is limited to 2 players. We still met up, we just ended up playing the original Xbox version, and you know what? We had a great time.
Think how I'm just gonna say how it is. Think how retarded that is. Okay? He brought 4 of his friends over so they could play the couch co-op on the Classic Collection Edition. And they couldn't do it. So they had to go back and play the older version, okay, from literally 20 years ago, so they could play 4-player co-op. How stupid is that?
Which kind of tells you everything you need to know about the Classic Collection, but that's just my take. Please let me know your thoughts and experiences with this game in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. Please consider supporting me on Patreon, and a big thanks to all my existing patrons. Also, if you...
All right. Let me go to his channel real fast. Give it a like, and then take his Flan Drew. I'm gonna add the description down below, so if you guys are watching this, you can go to his channel. Oop. I want it. I hate when they do that. You try to type in someone's, there it is, and that doesn't work. All right, so yeah, I'm a little ticked off about this game, man. This is like the thing that stopped me from pre-ordering games, right? Was Division. And now I don't know if I'm going to give any game, because this year, even though there's been good games, right? Even though there's been games like Pal World, Helldivers, and Suicide Squad, and Skull and Bones, and Enshrouded, right? And Last Epoch. Fun games, okay? But if a game is online, okay, there's a major issue with the online aspect of video games in 2024, okay? Pal World came out, servers were crashing left and right. Suicide Squad came out, still has server issues to play multiplayer. Helldivers came out, yes, they fixed it, but it came out, broke, buggy, right? It was really bad with the servers, okay? Last Epoch came out, had server issues. I didn't purchase that particular game. But all of these games, Star Wars, Battlefront Classic Collection came out, multiplayer problems. I don't know what to do anymore as far as I am not going to support a game and buy it day one if I can't play it multiplayer, okay? If it's a single-player game, sure, okay? Unless I get a code, okay, from a company to be like, hey, yeah, you want to try the game out? Cool. But if it's a game that has multiplayer aspect to it, I'm not going to play it day one. If it's got a single-player game aspect into it, like, I played through the story of Suicide Squad. That's why I'm not super upset on multiplayer, but I stopped playing because the multiplayer was broke, okay? So I stopped playing, okay? Pal World was a pain in the ass because every time I couldn't get into a server, so I stopped playing, okay? Just time after time after time after time. Fucking internet, man. I don't know what happened. My computer, all of a sudden, I had like a hiccup. Yeah, they got me. They got me. They're like, quiet him. He's talking about video games not being able to be done in 2024. Like, what the hell was that? Like, how is it? How is it in 2024? Like, look, I get it, right? People come in and they're like, well, no, I'm having fun with this game. And it's not about, at least from my point of view, it's not about having fun with the game. It's about the game literally working, okay? Literally working when it comes out, okay? Sure, Helldivers is a fun game, and there's millions of people playing the game, and Pal World, millions of people playing the game, and Suicide Squad, millions of people did buy that game, even though people don't believe it, okay? But the problem in 2023, 2024, hell, not even 2023, 2024, 2019, 2020, okay, 2021, 22, 23, 24, games come out and they're incomplete. And the worst part was I was saying to Shadow, okay, before I got paused, okay, is that this game is a 20-year-old game. 20 years old. And yet they still brought it out broke. Like, it's so infuriating. Okay? Where did the other 52 gigs come from for that game? 52 gigs. You could download the same game right now, and it would be 52 gigs left for both games. It's 7 gigs total. It came from 4K video playing on the title screen. The title screen 62 gigs. The other 52 gigs was the DRM. It's so ridiculous, man. I truly believe, right? I watched that video. I watched the entire video because I like being punished, right? I watched the entire video of that developer that said that she only has a team of non-white people. Okay, I watched the entire video, and her video was supposed to help people that were trying to make video games, okay, how to make video games. And during this video, she talked about how video games making is hard, and that she didn't get paid, and they got this money, and it was well under budget, and, well, they predicted it well under budget. She's like, you can't make a game with, this amount of money. And she, during the whole interview, the worst thing that she said wasn't that she didn't hire any white people. There's much more in that video that she shouldn't just be in the industry, right? She shouldn't be in the industry. And what she said in that video when I watched it this weekend, and then talking about this right now, going, these people just think that they just start in the industry and they feel like they're owed. They feel like they're owed something. Okay? That was her first game that she made where she was talking about the company she started and how much money she created. Now you look at Aspire, they've been around for a bit. But yet, when you look at a person like that saying, well, she's owed and she doesn't get her moment because she's a black woman, yet the game she made is absolute trash that she made. It's just a bad game. And look, not everyone can make a good game, right? Not everyone can make a great book. Not everyone can make a great movie. But yet there's whole companies that are in the industry, right? I don't know. the color of this person's skin that made this video game. All I know is they took a game that was 20 years old and they shit on it. Okay? They shit on it. Right? I don't care what the person's skin or what they, identify as. Just make a game. Just make a game, sell a game. This game was already made and they couldn't sell it. Man, making games is hard. But making games that are already made, that must be even harder. Right? It's like cheating off someone's test and still failing. That takes talent. My wife got pissed off at me because she heard you talking about how they're making a non-binary X-Men. And I agreed with you. I was like, I need a divorce. About the show that we did about the X-Men show. Crazy idea, but maybe they could identify as a game developer. Maybe, Travis. That's a good one. That's a good joke. Good joke. I own every platform, but unlike others, I don't pretend I'm not a specific team. However, I can argue for both sides without letting that get in my way. She needs to go back to PR training. Says that the black company, we don't hire white people. Yeah, no, that was bad. But when she was talking about being in the industry, and she's like, well, I couldn't get a publisher. They couldn't get a publisher. And she thought she couldn't get a publisher because she was a black woman. Not because the game was bad, right? That's like a horse with blinders on, okay? She couldn't get a publisher because of the color of her skin, not because of the game, right? They look at it and said, well, you raised this much money for your Kickstarter. You had this many people pay for it, and you couldn't get any more money. You're pretty much tapped out, right? The people that were interested in your game, that's what it is. Right, and as she's talking in that interview, she talks about how, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, I didn't know this. Yeah, that's called experience. That's called experience. That's what comes with people that know what the fuck they're doing. Did you see the Kingers video? A new video on the latest IGN dumbass debacle of the hilarious their stupidity. I didn't watch it, but I know he's talking about the Resident Evil, because we went over the article. So I know what he's talking about, but I didn't watch it. About the Resident Evil, how they're a white guy killing black people on Africa. Yeah, that's the IGN article. I haven't watched it. A gay X-Men for representation, I could kind of see, but a non-binary X-Men, do we really need a mainstream representation of form of media for them? Well, the argument there, Argus, is that Morph was he was a shapeshifter. That's what he was called, a shapeshifter. They changed the word shapeshifting to non-binary. And they did that saying, well, non-binary is the same thing as a shapeshifter. Well, then why change it the word shapeshifter? Obviously, they're doing this so they can get marketing, right? So they can put it in the article and people can get upset about it, right? But it's the exact same thing. Shapeshifter, where he can turn into a man, woman, dog, whatever. But they had to change the name shapeshifter into non-binary. Well, there is a rumor, Water, that Mystique is also non-binary. Right, Rose, who is a shapeshifter. That's right. No, but that in the article that we read for that particular thing, Sarge, they said, well, shapeshifter is exactly what non-binary is, because they're morphing into other things. I said, if it's the same, then why change it? Do you know what I mean? They do certain things just so they can get the promotion of whatever. I don't know why my camera is all like messed up now. Give me a second. Figure. Oh, that's the right one. I don't know what it's doing. Well, shapeshifter / non-binary does make sense. But the point, Vandal, is why did they change it? You see what I'm saying? It's like getting hired somewhere, not because of your skills, because you mark off a checkbox. And if you're okay with a person being that way, like you got the job because you hit the quota, cool. Okay? But the reason they changed the name shapeshifter to non-binary is so they can check a checkbox and then promote that, right? Because to get clicks and to get stuff like that, that's why they changed the stuff. Otherwise, there were really no reason to change the name. Argus says a non-binary is just choosing to not associate with a gender, not being able to physically shape-shifting between them. Because they make up words and change the definition of the words. I'm going to watch 97, X-Men 97, just because I want to see what they change, right? And if I don't like it, then I'll stop watching. If they show it in a way where they kind of push it on you, then I'll stop watching. But if it's just telling a story, then I'm okay with it, right? Let's see my childhood being ruined again. Well, this is another thing, right? Why didn't they just come out with a new X-Men show? And this is the reason I think that they're gonna push stuff, right? What's the reason for coming out with X-Men 97? It came out in 97, right? We're almost 30 years old from where it was. Why are they doing it? You could have made a new X-Men show. You could have made a new X-Men show and you could have done whatever, but no. They're like, there's a baked-in audience. What was the favorite X-Men show back in the day? Oh, well, all these people that are this age, they loved X-Men 97. Now let's change the things of the people that are in that show. Now, don't get me wrong. If they made a new X-Men show and they did the exact same changes they made, people would still be upset. But they brought back in X-Men 97. Disney with the nostalgia again? Yeah. And look, I just fell for the nostalgia. And they didn't push anything on me. They just showed me nostalgia for Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, the classic collection, and yet they suckered me in and then they shit on it. Not propaganda-wise. They shit on it quality-wise. They put a product out there knowing that the people that like this game would buy this game. Again, I didn't buy it. I got a code, but I would have bought it. I was going to buy 2 copies. I was going to buy one for the Xbox and one for PC to play it with other people. And now I'm not touching it. Okay? Because it's a broke, buggy, unfinished game. Which was made 20 years ago. Off topic, but since we were talking shows and Fallout TV show creator said some concerning stuff, but I assume we'll cover it on Friday. I didn't even see the stuff they're saying, Krebsy. So if you have something, put it in the submitted Nerding with 30 section. It's in the same area as the submitted stores. You know where it is. You posted stuff in there. I haven't read this stuff yet. So, but yeah, we'll probably cover it on Friday. Oh, This Friday, I won't be here. We're taking a quick trip for spring break, so there won't be a show this Friday. So I might do it Wednesday. I might do it Wednesday night. So I'll do like a normal stream on Wednesday, or I might just do, instead of a podcast or instead of playing video games, I might do that show instead. The Battlefront series is cursed. Yeah, I mean, Battlefront 3 couldn't get made twice. And then Battlefront 1, they screwed it over with the no single player campaign. And then Battlefront 2 came out and it was cursed with the microtransactions, right? Yeah, the entire time that thing's been how you screw up something that could be so easy to make is mind-boggling. I feel like these things connect. The old game from 20 years ago is both good and playable. This is less talented people crashing on others' work. Same as X-Men 97. A little bit. I can see what you're saying, right? I just feel like... Here's something like off topic, right? I came across a YouTube channel last night when I was watching. I think the guy's name is Marco, right? He's a young, like, artist, and he goes around, he makes, like, shoes, or he knocks on people's doors, and they give him something, and he does artwork on shit, okay? And I saw the attention to detail this man does, right? He takes someone's pairs of shoes, okay? I don't know if you guys know who this is, right? He takes someone's pairs of shoes, and the amount of time and detail he takes, I have super respect for what he does in the work. Even if you don't like his artwork, the amount of time he takes by taking the entire shoe apart and then does the stitching all himself, and then he does all the stuff. Like, he made a shoe for Joe Rogan, okay? And did the research of, like, what does Joe Rogan like? You know, what type of you know, he likes hunting. So he implemented some hunting thing, like some leather on there. He put some artwork on there from the tattoo that was on his arm from the same artist, or from the book, his favorite book. Like, the fact that this kid can do research and take effort. And when I say make a game, sell a game, it's whatever it is, put 100% of your whatever you're doing into the skill that you want to do, okay? And do the best fucking job that you can do, right? Like, every morning I do this, okay? Every day I learn to be a better content creator, okay? But I do research, right? It may not seem like I do research, but I read a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff in my brain that when we have a conversation, I can move about and change directions and still talk about stuff. I'm not bullshitting you, right? If I don't know something, I say I don't know that, okay? If I do know something, I talk about it, okay? And this kid puts so much skill, and he puts the shoe back together, okay, and the detail and all the stuff, and he gives it back to him, and they're like, man, this is amazing. If this person can do it for a shoe, why can't 20, 30, 50, 60, 100 people do it for a game that was 20 years old? Why couldn't you take that exact same game and just bring it back to what it was? Why can't the X-Men developers, X-Men 97, why couldn't they just, and again, I haven't seen the show yet, so maybe they did, okay, but why couldn't they take that show, if they had to bring it back, and just make it exactly the way it was? Why do they have to change it for modern audiences? Okay? If you want to make a show for modern audiences, then make a show for modern audiences. Why do you have to take something that was back in the day and then change it for modern audiences? I feel like everything is going to shit because everyone thinks it's about sex and race, and it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. Okay? The video game industry... Oh, and by the way, this weekend I watched a couple of videos about talking about the SBI stuff, right? And people are still missing the point. Okay? They're still missing the point of the harassment that's happening is not happening from this side of the table. Okay? It's not happening on this side. Are there bad people out there that just on Twitter and they say stuff, sure. But the people on this side of the table, the gamers, those people wouldn't have the money or the jobs if it wasn't for us. Okay? And they forget this. Okay? Not that I can tell them what to do, but if you don't make a product, then you don't have the money from us. And that's plain and simple. And the hate campaigns are from the same people that, remember when Hogwarts Legacy came out and they were making lists? They were making lists of people that were playing a game that if you were playing this game, you were going to be canceled. Remember that list? These are the same people that are making lists on the other side, okay? That if you play a game and you don't like this, then they want to know what your name is. Where's your video profile? Where's your name, right? These are the people that are harassing, not the gamers. Gamers play games because they want to play games. We're not posers in the industry. They can't do the same level of work because they're more worried about the white guy microaggressions than the game for the woke sake, not anyone else's sake. That's what I'm saying, man. Just make a game. Make a game. Write a book. Make a movie. I got banned from channel recently, I think, because of my comments on other channels. Man, I don't know what to say about that, Jones. All this drama started with the list on Steam. Now look at them making new lists every day. Yeah, it's crazy. The list that you could literally go to their site. You could literally go to their site, Kylo, and look at the list of games. The X-Men has always been minorities and underdogs. They changed in 2024, or in brand. Stan Lee would have approved. X-Men has always been about a diverse group of people. I didn't need them to tell me that out loud, right? Nobody back in the day was like, white guy, check. White girl, check. Black guy, check. Right? Nobody back then was doing that. People do this. People focus on that stuff because they want to divide us. They want to divide us. Okay? Speaking of people that want to divide us, fucking FCC. Right? Moving along. Okay. The FCC has finally decreed that 25 megabytes per second and 3 megabytes per second are not broadband. Okay. If you guys like what we do here, we have conversations about news stories and whatnot, right? Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. I just read articles, give you my opinion, and we have conversation. Okay. So the next story, FCC has finally decreed that the 25 megabits per second and 3 megabytes per second are not broadband speed. Okay. So it says, quote, I think our new threshold, frankly, should be 100 megabytes per second. I think anything short of shortages are children of future and other digital economies. That's the FCC Commissioner Jessica Rosenworcel argued 9 years ago. Now it's finally happening. Now, today, the FCC has changed the definition of broadband to mean download speeds to 100 megabytes per second and upload speeds to 20 megabits per second. It had been stuck at 25 megabits per second and 3 megabits per second since 2015. As recently as 2021, ongoing FCC chairman Ajit Pai claimed it didn't need more than that. Well, imagine this. Imagine to my shock, okay, when I said that cloud gaming and stuff is going to get exponentially more and more, and you guys are like, well, no, the infrastructure's not there. The infrastructure's not there. And then all of a sudden, all they have to do is go and turn on a switch, okay? And all of a sudden, the minimums of 25 to 3 megabytes per second go up to 100 megabytes per second. It's crazy. It's crazy. Infrastructure's not there, right? The guy outside your house that's been digging a trench for the last year and a half, 20 miles down the road, he's doing absolutely nothing, right? So the definition matter because the FCC report whether failing or succeeding to close the broadband gap, and now much to regulate or throw money at. Broadband providers to spread decent internet across the United States. It's amazing how this is happening, right? All the industries are going, they might go digital. Video games, which is the largest industry in the world, you could take all the other things combined and it's more than that, okay? And now all of this stuff is happening. Convenience, huh? Coincidentally. In the case of the money came first, the FCC writes in base of the standard, and the federal of the state funding grants are already required, as well as consuming usage patterns and what actually is available from the marketed of internet service providers. Now, whether 100 megabytes per second or 20 megabits per second meet your personal definition of decent likely depends on where you live today. Now, the FCC says almost 28% of Americans in rural areas don't have even as much wired internet available to them. Now, megabits per second of the bandwidth is just one factor of the internet access to. There's also a price and latency. There's also a few more stats about the broadband gap from the FCC press release today. It says fixed terrestrial broadband service excludes satellite. Has not been a physical deployed approximately 24 million Americans, including almost 28% of Americans in rural areas and more than 23% of people living in tribal lands. Now, mobile 5G NR coverage has also been physical deployed at minimum speeds of 35 to 3 megabits per second to roughly 9% of all Americans, due to almost 36% in the rural areas and more than 20% of people living in tribal lands. 45 million Americans lack access to both 120 fixed service and 35.3 mobile 5G NR service. And based on the new 1 gigabytes per 1,000 students and staff short-term benchmark for schools and classrooms, 74% of all school districts meet this goal. Now, the new definition was pushed through the FCC's dramatic majority, something that hasn't had the majority of President Biden's term in office. Now, the FCC has spent years completing deadlock without its... no, it was Democratic. I'm okay. Ana Gomez has finally confirmed by the Senate last September. So there you go. So if you're lucky and you have 25 megabits per second, you'll automatically be leveled up, right? They did this a couple years ago in our area where the minimum package went up. But if you don't say it, right? If you don't notice it, they'll still charge you for the exact same thing, even though they're giving other people cheaper prices for the same, right? So make sure you go talk to your provider and see, once that stuff goes through, if the price of the minimum was for 25 and now it's 100, make sure you're not paying for that 25. Make sure you're getting that. Unless you're grandfathered in, then don't say anything. Okay? But make sure you're checking. So the FCC, obviously the government is starting to look at this and go, wait a minute, you're saying we can make a lot more money off of this? Because obviously the rates are going to go up, right? Netflix doesn't go up just because it's happening. It's because their cost more. And they're like, well, we can get more money from these people because the internet. But you're still getting a shittier version of the content because you don't own it. And they say it's 4K, but it really isn't 4K, right? So 25 megabits per second, 3 megabits per second, now moving up to supposedly 100 megabits per second, but we'll see, what happens when it comes out. All right, so bring that back. Okay, what a curious thing to happen, right, Altern? I don't want to sound like a nerd, but we're talking megabits here, not megabytes. Sorry, alien. The real reason SBI wants in on video games? Oh, money? Yeah, well, that's everybody. Argus says somewhere countries have high-speed public internet throughout the cities from just use out about the streets while traveling, everything. Right. I went to a populated area yesterday and I couldn't get a signal in the parking lot. Okay. It's weird. Here in the States, there's some places that you go, and I don't live in a rural area. And now you'll say the gamer's tax, right? The levels are not going up. They're just going to stop calling it 25.3 high speed. It won't get better because I can't. It won't get better because I can't. What do you mean? You understand though, Lurker, that the cables in the ground that have been there, it's like them turning the faucet on, right? They're not replacing all the cables all the time. They've put cables in the ground that from the street to your house, they can turn the knob to give what speeds you have or not. Okay? Certain places, don't get me wrong, there's cables in the ground that they can't get any more information because of the cables, right? But once they put the new cables in the ground, which that's what they're doing in a lot of areas, okay? They just turn a button, push a button, turn a knob, whatever you want to call it, to make the pressure of the hose go on or off and the faster or slower. It's there already. I know for a fact that my internet could be 1,000 up, 1,000 down. Okay? But they put that behind a paywall, right? So I pay for mine, and this is what its limits at. And I don't have fiber, right? I don't have fiber optic cable. Best internet I can buy, which is the high-end fiber optic, is cheaper than the cable television, which is full of brim with ads. Buddha Papa says that the standard copper is good up to 500 megabits. I live in an area underground utility built into the 70s. I'm fucked. The DSLI cause can't reach. Right. If you're living in certain areas, sure. Right. But a lot of people think, oh, I can't get it because, you know, they have to run new. No, the cables in the ground have been laid for a decade that can run up to a certain thing, right? Like what Akuda Papa's saying, right? Back in the day, the cable that was in the ground could go up to 500, right? But they're only giving you 25 because that's what they want. What's going on, Legion? I don't annoy my internet provider to get good internet. Yeah, we had a nightmare like 2 years ago here, right? Actually, it was probably 4 years ago. We've been in this house for 8 years. There was a problem coming in, right? We couldn't figure it out. I was like, what is happening? And then one day the guy slipped up, right? The guy came out and went to my house, and he said, he goes, yeah, the node that's up there. He's like, you're the last one on that node. He's like, you're the only one, right? So it's a very rare situation here, right? So my house, my border of my house is literally on the county line. Like across the street is a separate county. We're on the corner. We're like, if two pieces meet up, we're literally right here. So we cross over. So we're the last person. No one is past us. We are it. So the node that comes to us is the last stop. Okay, we have our own, basically our own little thing over here. Okay, so the guy was like talking. He goes like, I don't understand what the problem is. He's like you should get 1,000 down, 1,000 up. I go, I'm sorry, what did you say? He goes, you're the only one on this node. I go, hold up. I go, the guy that came here months and months ago told me I was sharing it with everybody else, and this is why it's slow, because if someone else has an open, he goes, no. He goes, you're the only person. He's like, your house is on its own thing. I'm like, so nobody else is using my internet? He's like, no. And I was like, interesting. I was like, so why is it messing up? He was like, I don't know. He's like, they might be limiting you. And I was like, they're limiting me. I was like, why would they limit me? He goes, because you're using more than other people. He goes, even though you're on your own line, he's like, in this area, he's like, you're using more internet than most people do, right? Because my neighbors and stuff are not streamers. My neighbors barely watch television. Okay. So it was funny. I was just like, oh, okay. So every time I call, if I have an internet problem, and magically I haven't had, let me knock on some wood, haven't had an internet problem in quite some time, okay? So the starter that we had earlier wasn't internet, it was my computer, which I have to try to start saving up for getting a new computer. But the internet's coming into my house, okay? Every time it slows down, I pick up the phone, they know me by name, and they're like, oh, hey, Mr. Right? And they're like, no, we're not. I go, are you guys slowing my internet down again? And they're like, we don't have that capability. I'm like, okay. So you have the capability of resetting, turning on, turning off, okay, seeing all the stuff, but you have no effort of slowing or speeding up my internet. I gotcha. Magically, it hasn't happened in quite some time. You have to stay on them. If your internet comes down and you just pick up the phone, hey, my internet's slowing down. What's the problem? They're like, oh, sorry. And they'll put it back up. Let me make sure here. Hold on a second, because I don't want to show you my... It's a little slow this morning because my son's home. We usually get about 450. 450. Okay. But I got 389 right now. 389.5, 12.6. But usually it's at 20. It's at 500, 520. Hey, Mr. 30, your internet is slow today because we're bored. Sorry about that. Well, they do it. They slow people down when they're. It's almost like prorating your electricity and stuff during the summer or whatnot. Oh yeah, it's expensive. It's expensive. There was someone, Tom Warren, put out the other day. He's like, what do you pay for your internet? And someone said $8.95 in Russia, and they got 1,000 up, 1,000 down. I was like, holy shit. I was like, holy Christ. $8.95. Not $895. That's $8.95. I must be paying for their internet. That's why he's paying. They're subsidizing it somewhere. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll charge you $8.95. We'll charge the guys in the U.S. over $100. Altered says, boys, I may not have brains, but I have an idea. And me and my love of some Russian internet speed and Russian women. Yeah, it's exactly right, Kylo. What they pay in 1 month, I pay in. Wait. What in 1 year is what you pay in 1 month. Oh yeah, more than that. I pay in 1 month. I only pay $60 a month here, and I have great internet. Ultimate download and upload around 400. That's really good. That's really good. I'm paying a little less than double for what I get. Yeah, we read an article a couple years ago, Jones, inside of like major cities, they charge them by usage, right? So there's overcharges and stuff like that. They're making a killing off people like in major cities. Is anybody here like live in New York or like Chicago or like LA? Like, is that true? Do they charge you? I don't know. This is the thing we read like years ago. Like, I have unlimited, right? So we pay one price, but it's unlimited download. After 1,000 gigs, I have to pay more. What do you pay? What do you pay after the 1,000 gigs? Is it like a car? Like every mile you go over, it's a certain. Is it per gig per 100 gigs? Like, what is it? Yeah, it's crazy the amount of money they can charge for this shit. Water says, I stay in Atlanta, and it's pretty good at Xfinity. I have unlimited, but it's still kind of high. I live outside of Detroit. Shitty 25.3 charges $10 a month for unlimited. Overcharges $1 per 10 gigs. Okay. Like $90 for 100 gigs. Right, and do they scale it, or is it like you used 5, like you went over by 5? Do they just charge you the full amount, or do they charge you for what you use? Argus says, in my area, unlimited 1 gig fiber optic speeds are $100 a month. However, since I already have mobile with Verizon, I get the internet for $65 a month. Best Verizon has. Full amount, but have to pay more if I exceed the cap. Right. Comcast, well outside of Hartford, Connecticut, internet is great. Just overpriced. Yeah, they get you, right? 165 gigs. Well, speaking of how they get you, let's talk about Sony PlayStation 5 Pro is up to 3 times faster. 3 times. 16 times the detail. 3 times faster. May arrive holiday 2024. Sony's own first-party studios have reportedly been testing PlayStation 5 Pro dev kits for months. Okay. Sony is reportedly working on a PlayStation 5 Pro model, as well includes a far more powerful GPU, and these are up to 3 times faster than certain tasks that exceed a PlayStation 5 models. Now, YouTuber Moore's Law is dead claims to have gotten access to its technical overview documents for the PlayStation 5 Pro, codenamed Trinity. And now Tom Henderson at the Inside Gamer reports that the leaked specifications are accurate, and the console is currently set to release during holiday 2024 period. Now, the screenshots from the technical document include a mention of 67 teraflops of 16-bit floating point calculations, which works out around 33.5 teraflops of single precision compute. That's reportedly works out to 45% rendering performance improves over PlayStation 5, and the existing of PlayStation 5 is 10.28 teraflop console, but comparing teraflops directly between these consoles is complicated due to the changes of AMD RDNA architecture. While it sounds like the tripling of the teraflops would be a significant performance increase of the GPU side, comparing the base PlayStation 5 to the PlayStation 5 Pro would be closer to 10.28 teraflops versus the 17 teraflops. Okay. It looks like that Sony might also be moving from its, well, effectively of AMD Radeon RX 6700 inside the PlayStation 5 to something closer to the Radeon RX 7800 XT. This could offer more impressive performance or ray tracing games, and the PlayStation 5 Pro may offer 3 times the ray tracing performance, as well as 4 times in some cases, Henderson reports. Here's the thing, right? For the PlayStation 5 Pro, I don't care if they have the exclusives for first-party titles. Like, if I just bought a PlayStation, like, seriously, let's say you got the very first ones that came out in 2020, or is it 2021, right? You've had it for 3 years, and now all of a sudden, now a better version's coming out. Now, a lot of you, I know, will probably pick this up, right? And my question is, do you trade in your other PlayStation? Do you hand it down to somebody else and then buy the next PlayStation? Like, to me, that's so fast, right? This is why I don't ever get the mid-gens, right? So, for instance, I was late, and I got the PlayStation 4 Pro because I didn't buy the PlayStation 4 when it came out. And then when I, what else did we do? This is like the only one, but it's not a mid-gen upgrade, right? The S was the only one available. Then I bought the X and then gave the X or S to my son. But if I said this before, if they come out with a better Xbox, I'm not getting that, right? And I don't think I'm going to get the PlayStation 5 Pro regardless, because most of the games I want to play are coming over to PC regardless, right? Which is better. It just is. On Sunday, Henderson added more details, like the Pro would also follow the recent PlayStation 5 redesign with support of the detachable disk drive. Hey, look at that. Detachable disk drive. Who predicted that 5 years ago? Also stating the PlayStation 5 Pro could also have system memory running at 576 gigabytes, a 28% boost over PlayStation 5, as well as better performing audio hardware capable of processing more effects. The PlayStation 5 Pro is also said to have the same CPU as the base PlayStation 5 with the high CPU frequency mode, and the boost clocks up to 3.85 gigahertz. That also would represent 10% performance boost over the standard PlayStation 5, and Henderson reports that activating it would mean slowing the GPU about 1.5%. Now, the original leaked documents also are more reportedly posted on Sony's own developer portal also mentioned the PlayStation Spectra Super Resolution, and this is rumored to use the PlayStation machine learning to image the upscaling that is similar to the NVIDIA's DLSS. Okay, so here's another thing I'm thinking of as I'm reading that. A lot of people don't have, right? A lot of PlayStation 4 owners, there's 122 million of those people that own a PlayStation 4. Okay, I'm one of those people. And there's only 54 million, maybe 55 million people that own. So you're a little less than 1/3, right? Well, a little more than 1/3, right, of the people that own a PlayStation 4 now own a PlayStation 5. So are these people going to look and go, hey, you know what? I'm going to pick it up now because it's 3 years in the cycle. They'll buy it at the tail end. I don't know. Another thing is, isn't it rumored? Again, we're in 2024. Didn't they say that next generation, the PlayStation 6 could be coming out in 2026? 2 years down the road, right? At that point, years fly by like this, okay? What's 2 years? I mean, hell, they're not coming out with their next games until 2025. And then if it comes out in 2025, now you're on the cusp of, well, they're coming out at the tail end of the PlayStation 5 and then the PlayStation 6. And some of you guys were talking about maybe that Spider-Man, The Greater Web, or whatever else comes out might be for the PlayStation 6 down the road at the tail end of Spider-Man 3. So it's like, I don't know. My question is to you, is this going to make you buy a PlayStation 5? If you haven't picked up one already, is this going to make you buy it, or are you just going to wait even longer, or are you going to pick up the older version, right? Because now the PlayStation 5 Pro comes out. Are you going to pick up a PlayStation 5 because it's cheaper? A lot of people like to buy Keeping Up with the Joneses, like to keep up with buying the latest, greatest thing, but also a lot of people also are on a budget. I mean, reality has to set in. There is a recession, okay? And a lot of people, this is a hobby, by the way. So a lot of people are not going to go out and buy a brand new 500, 600. We don't know how much this is going to be. Rumored it could be around, $550, $600. So they'll probably wait to pick up the PlayStation 5 digital because it'll go on sale, right? Maybe about $350, right? That's a lot cheaper. So let me know in the comment section down below. Are you going to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro when it comes out, if it comes out later this year? Or are you going to pick up the PlayStation 5 now that it goes on sale because the new one comes out? Or are you just not going to buy a PlayStation? And this goes for any console, right? Are you going to pick up another Xbox if the Xbox comes out? Are you going to pick up the Switch 2 when it comes out? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. I still play my 2014 PlayStation 4 for old games, and my PlayStation 5 and the new gen only games. I only buy new when things break or I can't get the game on the old gen. Right, and they kind of force you on certain games, right? Like the other day, I was looking at games to play because I had my Xbox One out because it's hooked up to our projector, and I was like, "Oh, let me see if I can play this game." It said, "Nope, not compatible with this system." I couldn't play Jedi Survivor. I couldn't play. There was another game I couldn't play, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So only on the new gen. It's not 500 when you're partnered with and buy in bulk though. For what are you talking about? It takes it if it's possible, or else I won't get it right away. PlayStation 5 Pro $799. Is that true? Is that the rumor for it? If it's $800, there's no fucking way that's selling. I mean, people will buy it, but a lot less people are going to buy it. But then again, the scalpers were selling it for $1,200, and they were selling. So, you know, the market will bear what the market bears. Ebony says 2027, 2028 for PlayStation 6 window. If people kept up with me, no one would be broke. I'm a huge Sony fan, and I'm getting it day one. I'll just give my kid the current PlayStation 5. Yeah. I'm a graphics head, so I have to. But if it's not worth the upgrade, I'll just upgrade the PC instead. I normally spend between $700 and $900 for GPUs. Yeah, but the way I look at PCs, though, Water, I don't know. Do you use your PC for anything else other than playing video games, or is it just video games? If it's Switch 2 launches, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4, then yes. Some of these generation will be longer than PlayStation 6 would get pushed to 2028, 2029 since COVID fucked everything. Games taking longer, make the industry... Perhaps. I mean, what was the last generation we had? This came out in 2020. When did the Xbox and PlayStation 4... PlayStation 4 release date was 2013. It's 7 years. When was the PlayStation 4? There wasn't a PlayStation 4 Pro, right? It was a Slim. Is that what it was? Yeah, PlayStation 4 Pro was announced, on September 7th, 2016. That's the one I got, right? But I didn't pick that up until 2018 when Spider-Man came out. So I waited 2 years. I waited 5 years, 6 years before I got into PlayStation 4. Yeah, see, the Slim, there wasn't a Pro, but there was a Slim PlayStation 3. So PlayStation 3 came out in 2006. The Slim version came out in 2009. Okay. Then it was 13 and 16. Now it's 20 and 24. This is actually a bit of a delay, right? Because technically the Pro should have came out based on their other, usually 3 years after, right? So it should have came out last year in 2023. I would get a Pro if it was late to the generation or planning to gift someone my old model. Yeah, I just have no... I'm trying to think of the game. The only way, and I mean this, the only way I would get a PlayStation 5 Pro is if Grand Theft Auto 6 was timed exclusive. That would be it. That would be it. Otherwise, I don't need it. Horseman says, time's flying. Can you believe it's been 4 years since launch? Yeah, I remember, God, I remember a lot of you guys that have been with me for this long. We were talking about the shortage that was happening in 2019-20, which is crazy. Oh, don't worry, Jones. It'll be on Netflix anyway. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 will be on Netflix exclusive. Z says, I got the 4 terabyte on PlayStation 5. Now storage over specs. My console desktop will be the upgrade box. They'll still be releasing games on the PlayStation 4. I don't remember PlayStation 3 games still coming after 11 years. Yeah, well, 360 was still... Didn't they just shut it down? Or this July, they're shutting down the 360, right? For Xbox? I think that they stopped making games finally for those systems, which is nuts. So GTA 6 releases next year, right? Supposedly, yeah. How many games do you think we get before it releases? Because nothing is going to release after that. I would say the pipeline will be clear for about a month. About a month. Sicky members stand up. There's a lot of you guys are still here. We've lost a few along the way, not because of the Sicky, just because they've you know, time or, you know, moving up, growing up, whatever. Supposedly, I remember, didn't we read something that they're, let's see. I thought Microsoft is closing. Yeah, the store. Xbox 360 store will close July 2024. July 29th, 2024. Xbox will stop supporting the ability to purchase new games, DLC, or any other entertainment content from the 360 store. It came out in 2005. We're talking 19 years they kept that shit open. Yeah, if some outlandish reason it's Sony timed exclusive, it'll probably be on the same boat. That's what I'm saying. If it, again, I'm not saying it's happening, but if that predicament happened, that'd be the only reason I pick up a PlayStation. What if Microsoft does a time exclusive for GTA 6? I mean, they could. They have the deep pockets. I mean, I already own an Xbox. See, here's the thing. Let me make this abundantly clear. Okay? If I had a PlayStation instead of an Xbox, I wouldn't buy an Xbox because I can buy the games or play the games through Game Pass. Okay? If I didn't have an Xbox and I just had the PlayStation, I would play the games third party just like I play on Xbox right now, and then I would just rent or play or pay for Game Pass, right? I wouldn't be buying an Xbox. But now that I have an Xbox and I don't have a PlayStation, and the games that are coming from PlayStation that I'm interested in are going to be on PC at some point, I don't need a PlayStation. You see? Like a lot of people, I don't need to keep up with the Joneses, right? I don't need to play the latest, greatest rock, God of War or Last of Us or Horizon, okay? And the games if I want to play those, I can play those now on PC. I don't need to have all the consoles. There was a reason back in the day. I come from an Atari Apple IIc Nintendo household. We played games wherever we wanted to play games. I've always been that way. Now with the industry the way it is, if I don't need to buy your console, I'm not. It's plain as day. When a game wasn't on Nintendo or Atari, I would go to the arcade to play it because that's where it was. I want to know why my camera's all messed up today. Nothing's running in the background to like screw anything up. I don't know what's happening. Ford says, I'm in the same boat as you, 30. I have an Xbox and a PC. Wait for Sony games to come to PC to play them. Yeah, I don't have to play the games, the latest, greatest games right now from Sony. And it would be the exact same way all the way around. I wouldn't have to play the latest, greatest games for Xbox, right? But I could, because they make it easier. Because if I didn't have an Xbox and I wanted to play the latest, greatest game from Xbox, it's on Game Pass day and date. So I pay $12, $15, and I play it on my PC or on my television set. Based on reliable sources like Schreier, the current window is around February 2025, but if this game's industry is so delayed, could happen. With that said, 100% Grand Theft Auto 6 will be used to market the PlayStation 5 Pro. Sure. But imagine PlayStation 5 Pro uses Grand Theft Auto 6 to push the PlayStation 5 Pro, and Microsoft uses it to promote Game Pass. I didn't need to buy a Series X. I was under the impression that more of my 360 library would be available there. Right, 30. We're poor shamed for doing that. I mean, you can poor shame me all you want. I'm not Bungie. I know how to spend my money. Based on reliable sources, my fart smells like cotton candy. See? I can do it too. Does it smell like cotton candy? I mean, that would be a nice aroma if that's what it was, Dupless. Is it smell like shit, cotton candy? Is it shit smelling cotton candy though? Water says I'm poor but identify as rich. Rather be poor shame them than actually broke. I'm gonna pick up Dragon's Dogma 1, $5, and get 2 when it goes on sale for $40. I want to pick up for $5 Horseman. I just don't know if I'll have time to play it. I really don't. I don't see the world where GTA 6 comes day one to Game Pass. Take-Two CEO doesn't believe in Game Pass. Hey, look, Okoki, I'm not saying it is. You know, if Krebsy could throw it out there saying that they're going to market it on PlayStation Pro, right? All I'm saying is Xbox can do the exact same thing. That's all I'm saying. Right? He says they definitely market on the PlayStation 5 Pro because of the better graphics. I said, great. I said, and Xbox could promote it on Game Pass, right? Here's the thing. Nothing is possible until it is. And money makes people do a lot of different things, right? Right? When it first comes out, think about this. You're telling me, Mokoki, that if the Rockstar person doesn't believe in Game Pass, but let me get this straight. If he can get a ridiculous paycheck for a 3-month time span, right? Remember, they were getting paid $15 million a month to have Grand Theft Auto on Game Pass after the fact. Like years later, they were getting $15 million and $7 million for Red Dead Redemption 2, respectively. Okay, a month. You better believe that that paycheck's going to be really big, and if Microsoft wants to pay it, Rockstar will oblige. Right? If Grand Theft Auto, if Rockstar can make, let's just say they pay them $500 million for 2 months. And then it goes off, and then it leaves Game Pass. You don't think they're going to take that money because that covers the cost of 7 million copies? Searches, there's that time factor again. Even at $5, you will say, I don't have time. Yeah, and that's exactly why I don't know if I should pick it up. I guess if the money's right. There's no guess if the money's right. It is. If the money is right, anyone will do anything for the money. You think Grand Theft Auto cares if they put it on there for Game Pass? And I'm not saying they're doing it. I'm just saying if it's capable of putting it on Game Pass for the first month or two, they make the money up front from them, and then they have the online afterwards. What? They're gonna make their money regardless. They're gonna make their money regardless. Because even if there's not that many people playing on Xbox and they pay that money, okay, they still get paid. People play their game on Game Pass, and then they're still selling it for PlayStation. They're still selling it down the road when it comes out for PC later. Me saying that they is backed by PlayStation and Rockstar partnership that currently exists, and GTA 6 launches months after Pro, and Rockstar Games recently added a PlayStation Plus. I mean, they're on the tail end of PlayStation of Grand Theft Auto 5, right? So they want to make money. They want to make money. It could be on Game Pass. It'll still be in the line day one for collector's edition, right? Microsoft should better use those money for their own studios instead of splashing in it for Rockstar. Their goal, though, Titan, is just to get more people on Game Pass, right? They have plenty of studios right now. Yeah, what, 38? 38? 42? People says Nickelodeon is falling apart. Lots of dark. What? I can't. Nickelodeon is falling apart. Lots of dark stuff is coming out. Lots of dark stuff? What does that mean? Not good use for those millions in GTA 6, though, in my opinion. I mean, sure. I agree or disagree with you is not the point either. I mean, I'm just saying that they have 38 studios that are working on games that are first-party titles that can be coming to the Xbox at any time, right? I mean, I'm not going to tell them how to spend their money. They're a $1 trillion company. They're at the time of saying this, they're the number one in the world, right? And that's as a business, right? Not just the Xbox division, but Microsoft as a whole. They know how to spend their money. Alternate says Dragon Dogma 1 is a slog due to almost no fast travel and no mount. At least I didn't find one in my 20 hours of play. A lot of walking from point to point. Yeah, I heard about the dock that dropped today. Did you put that in Duplis, did you put that in Discord? The last thing that was posted was by me, by Helldivers, and also the PSVR 2. Oh, you're talking about that stuff. Yeah, that came out months ago, though. What is more surfing now? That stuff came out months ago. Where they have new development of what it was. Wasn't there like a documentary or something that came out? The cheapest place to play Grand Theft Auto 6 will be the Series S. Would that be the cheapest? Are you saying just for straight up purchasing it? It would still cost $70 or whatever the price is. Yeah, the dock. Maybe I knew about the dock ahead of time. I thought it was already out. Maybe I knew about the dock coming out. I've known about it for months. I mean, I'm not shocked. Am I done with Suicide Squad? They just did an update to potentially get the multiplayer working. Yeah, and I've said it ahead of time, Jones. I've said I'm not going to pick up the game until the season 1 comes out, which is next week. I said that before the game even launched, though. I said the exact same thing for Diablo before Diablo came out, right? I said I'll play it through the single player campaign, and then when new content comes out, I'll go back to it, maybe. And I said for Diablo, I tried season 1 for like 1 day and went, nope, I'll be back for season 4, if that. And then for Suicide Squad, I say I'll play it for the single player, and if it's good, I'll keep playing it, which I did. And then I said I'll go back to it when the content comes out. Because I actually listened when they actually said it months and months and months ago, saying that you don't need to keep playing Suicide Squad every day, right? I said they respect your time because you'll play the game, and then when you're done playing the game, you put it down, and then when you want to come back, you come back. Cheapest for people with no console is the Series S. Oh, with no console. Well, no, the cheapest would be if you have a Samsung TV. If it's not on Game Pass, I see what you're saying. If it's not on Game Pass, then yes, it would be the Series. It would be the Series S. Well, actually, you can't you play games without owning an Xbox and play the other games? I forget how that works. Drake Bell came out. I think he's one of the major things in the dock, if I'm not mistaken. Each their own, but I wouldn't play GTA 6 on the Series S. No, I didn't play Red Dead Redemption 2 on the last gen and waited for the new consoles so it looks the best. Funny thing is, I only made it to like 2 hours into the game. Where did we play it? I'm trying to think. I think I played Red Dead Redemption 2 on the S when it first came out. Oh no, it came out on the I don't even think we got that. Was that the S? Because we got the S in 2020. The game came out in 2018, didn't it? No, so we played it on the 1. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I played it on the S or not. Yeah, it had to be the 1X, which is my movie player now. And see, when I say that out loud, that I played it on the 1X, and that game was absolutely fucking gorgeous. Right? That game was absolutely gorgeous when it came out. And people now are saying that there's no way, like, the S is more powerful than the Xbox One X. The fact that Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't even have a 60 frames per second on the next gen, I'm wondering if they could pull it off. Well, didn't they upscale it? I thought they didn't. It's 60 frames on the PlayStation now, is it not? Didn't they ups? I gotta look it up. I don't know off the top of my head. It's 60 frames on the PlayStation 5. Isn't it? IGN did a story back in October of 2023. 60 frames per second toggled the game on the PlayStation 5 via backwards compatibility. Now, for the first time, Rockstar's 2010 open world Western officially playable at 60 frames per second, but the players on other platforms were left wondering when our turn. Currently, the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch port of Red Dead Redemption remain at 30 frames. Well, you're not going to get that at 60. Rockstar failed to port the Red Dead Redemption 2 to Xbox, pointing to backwards compatibility on the Xbox 360 original. While the version does run at 4K resolution on Xbox Series X and S and still limited to 30 frames per second. Some of the Xbox owners are now wondering if Microsoft will seamlessly abandon the FPS boost to drag Red Dead Redemption up to 60 frames per second. Yeah, so you could play the 60 frames per second on PlayStation, but not on Xbox. Come on, Kenneth. I have no issue playing Red Dead Redemption at the 30 frames per second when I played on the Xbox One X. But then again, I'm the weird one in the internet, so like I don't hate games for running 30 frames per second. But I also don't get nauseous or sick playing games at 30 to 60, 120, whatever, and then going back down. We're still waiting for the next update for Fallout 4. I'm waiting for the update for DC Universe Online that they were supposed to happen. I'm waiting for... There's another update for... what's it called? The Fallout 4. There was another one. There was one more game that they were doing. My problem isn't with 30 frames per second on console. It's 60 field of view on Red Dead Redemption 2 first-person mode. I never played in first-person mode. Dustin says, OG Battlefront 1 and 2 on the PC servers are still running. And the fans who love the games and probably going to get them. You get them for cheaper than the classic collection, Dustin. That's for sure. Yeah, if here's the thing, if you're a person that owns a PC and you like Red Dead Redemption and you don't own Red Dead Redemption on PC, okay, then you don't really care. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you cared about these 60 frames and you owned a PC, then you would just buy the game on the PC. Yeah, you can buy Red Dead Redemption 2 right now on PC, $20. $19.79. I was like, where's that screaming coming from? I'm looking at the trailer. Yeah, it's $20 right now on Steam. The Ultimate Edition is $34.99. What the hell is the Ultimate Edition? Red Dead Redemption 2. It doesn't say. I don't think it's the online version. I think the Ultimate Edition is what's the well, let's look at it, I guess. Red Dead Redemption 2 Ultimate Edition delivers all of the story mode content from the special edition plus additional content for online, including both bonus outfits for the online character, rank bonus, or whatnot. So, yeah, they're both the game. Both the Ultimate Edition, still got to play it. You haven't played it yet? It's such a good game. Unless you're Krebsy or Sarge. Not every game is meant for everybody. I loved it. I love Red Dead Redemption 2. One of the favorite games of all time. If you're smart, when Fallout 4 next gen update releases, it will come with content about the show. Oh, you're saying if they were smart, they would do that. Thanks for becoming a member. Robert Jones, thank you very much for the 12-month membership. I don't know if I should read it or if it reads it itself. I'm gonna wait a second. I'll settle down, Krebsy. You didn't finish it. Meaning you weren't interested in it. Or you didn't have any interest to go back to it. Just like Sarge. Ultimate Edition has year 1890 pronouns. What did I do? You didn't finish Red Dead Redemption 2. That's what you did. How close are you to finishing it, Sarge? How close are you to finishing it? At this point, you might have to start over because you'll be lost. You'll be like, I don't know where I'm at. All right, it doesn't look like it's reading it, so I'm going to read it. Robert Jones said, to complete the villain arc, all EA needs is to disable the original servers. Well, here's the thing. EA has nothing to do with the Battlefront 1 and 2 Classic Collection. That's not an EA thing. EA has nothing to do with the original Battlefront. That was Pandemic. Pandemic are the ones that made the original ones. Aspire picked those games up. EA has nothing to do with it. Spoiler alert, Sarge. Jesus. Yeah, I think someone else made a video this past week when I was watching it, and they were talking about how EA screwed up on the Battlefront series. I was like, EA had nothing to do with the Battlefront series. EA had to get the license, right, from LucasArts. Pandemic and LucasArts are the ones that had for Battlefront, right? Now, EA owns the Battlefront 1 and 2 from 2014 or 2015, 2017, but they don't own the Battlefront license. So another company can come along and make the Battlefront games. Now, the EA, they do have some really good visuals, right? You got to match those. You can't come out with a different type of feel, I don't think, for Battlefront. Like, what do you come out with? Do you come out with the same type of style as like Fortnite for Battlefront? Which they do. Inside of Fortnite, you could play Galactic Conquest. They have like a map mode that you can play. Eclipse says, yeah, very slow, but once you pass it, it was the best game I ever made. The second time I modded it where I didn't have to play that part. I started replaying it about a month ago and put like 65 hours in it. 3 weeks. Such a great time. See, I would rather put my time into that, Kylo, than to give another game my time that's going to be broke, buggy, and unfinished when it comes out. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of all the games that have come out this year, every single one of them has had a server issue. Every single one has had a server issue. Either way, it remains silly when the original outperforms or remasters the remake. I mean, what's happening right now with more people are playing Black Flag than playing Skull and Bones, right? More people are going back to play Batman Arkham than play Suicide Squad, even though it's not the same type of same game. But because they love their last game they created, they're going back to play those games, right? Witcher, right? More people are playing Witcher at the time than they were playing. You know, it's those types of things that happen. More people are playing Battlefront 1 and 2 original for 2014 and 2004 and 2005 than actually playing the Classic Collection. Yeah, it's so stupid about him getting canceled or trying to get canceled. He doesn't care. And that's the best part. How do you cancel someone that doesn't give a shit? Oh, last night my son watched Ghostbusters for the first time. Ghostbusters for the first time. And he liked it. He liked it a lot. More people playing Dying Light 1 than 2. You can't cancel him. His audience is just like him. They wouldn't stop watching. Right. Right. Did you see the new Twitch meta? Is that the one where you guys are putting green screens on people's asses and they're putting the video on the ass? Is that what you're talking about? Right? Is that the... Where is it? Stories. Did you put that in general talk? Oh, I saw this weekend. I wanted to share this. I was like, this is fucking crazy. You guys see this thing? Look at this crazy son of a bitch whoever built this. Look at this thing. This is a car made of wood. Okay? And it's made with all these little gears and stuff that are moving it. Like, look at this thing. This is a guy that probably carved it himself with like a chisel. Okay? And meanwhile, we got a bunch of idiots that can't remake a game that's 20 fucking years old. Look at this thing. It's insane. And this is the new meta. This is the new meta. We gotta watch. We gotta watch. We can't show too much, but yeah, that's what the meta is. You can't go on Twitter. Too much meta at the end, yeah. Not enough green screen on that last one. That's the new meta. It's a rough time here on streaming. Oh yeah, no, there's stuff that has nothing to do with any of this. You're just going through Twitter, right? You like read a story. You click on the story. You're like, oh, internet rising up, and you're like, okay, I go for video games. You click on the thing, you start scrolling, and through the comment section, there's just straight up porn, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? So that's why I left Twitch behind. If I want pee, I'll go to Pornhub or something where I can watch it properly. Just saying. It's true. Like, I'm okay if you want to post that stuff on there, but I'm not in that. Like, I'm following video game guys. You know what I mean? Like, news outlets and different things. So I'm like scrolling through thinking I'm going to be reading an article, and then all of a sudden, bam. And I'm like, oh, okay. Right. That's exactly what it is, Argus. The comments in every post is like, here's my OnlyFans. I gotta go to Twitch because Pornhub is blocked in my state. They seriously blocked Pornhub in your state? Where are we living in? What world are we living in that you have to get a VPN to look at another site? Engagement's engagement, I guess. Pornhub is blocked in Texas. Is that true? Right, right, Shutter, right? It's like, oh, look, there's a dog playing with a cat. Oh my God, what is that? Dad, let me see. No, no. Age verification law in Texas. Oh, we're getting that in Florida. Supposedly, Florida is getting a no one's allowed to use the internet below the age of 16. I think that's the thing that's getting passed. There's a video. Actually, you know what? There was a video I saw the other day, and I thought this would be a perfect to watch because most of you guys are older. So hold on. I gotta find the video. The perfect video, right? Because we're always talking about Gen Zers and whatnot. And I came across it this weekend. I started laughing because all this shit's true. We're just built differently. Let me find it. Yeah, I watched a lot of shit this weekend. Okay. This is the video. But does he have the actual video? I gotta find. I don't want to watch this guy reacting to the video. I want to watch the actual video. Okay.
If you grew up as
Okay. So this is a video of Gen Xers, right? This is the pussification of so you know where I come from, right? I'm born in 1978. Some of you guys are as old as me. Some of you are older than me. This is what Gen Xers had to deal with, right? And I think this is hilarious, right? I watched someone else react to this, but I was like, "Oh, dude, I gotta show this to my chat because we always talk about how people they get offended now and things hurt their feelings and all that stuff. This is how Gen Xers. This is how we survived.
as Generation X, then it's probably a miracle you even survived. At least that's what the modern world tells us. Many of the things that were normal back then are now taboo. In this video, we will have a look back and wonder how Gen X kids even survived. Television wasn't everything, but it was still pretty important. If you were a kid in the 70s, then you probably did not even have cable. Most people were...
No, you had a couple of channels, and you had to move it. You had to move the antennas and stuff like that.
Relied on a television antenna, which was usually rabbit ears and tinfoil. However, there were some households that used an antenna that was mounted on top of the...
Now, I never personally had to do this, what he's about to say, but I do know people that actually had to do this, and it wasn't from a movie.
roof. Every so often, this antenna would need to be adjusted thanks to some wind or weather. This became a family affair. Dad, of course, was in charge of the picture, so he was right in front of the television.
That's right.
One of the kids would be up on top of the roof and...
That's right. The kids had to get up on the roof. One, because it made sense, right? Couldn't put an adult up there. They could fall and they could... Right? The kid's much lighter. Just send them up there.
Ready to receive instructions from the relay of the rest of the family spread out from Dad. No one ever thought anything about kids being on the roof and then falling off. Most
because the kid wanted to be on the roof. Kid's like, this is cool, I want to go on the roof.
kids got up there anyways just to get a better view of the neighborhood or the stars. Many newer roofs are much more steep, and that might be considered child abuse to send your kid up there. I guess it's a good thing that people don't have to deal with antennas on the roof. Summers as a kid were always fun, and why wouldn't it be? You were out of school, and that...
That's right, Sarge. You can't put the breadwinner on the roof. Right? He's got to go to work the next day.
meant you could spend more time with your friends. But with all that running around outside, you were bound to get thirsty. There's nothing quicker and more refreshing than a sip from the garden hose.
Is this weird? I still drink from the goddamn hose. My son drinks from the garden hose. Like, is this people don't do this now? Kids don't drink from the hose?
Of course, you had to let it run a while before it got cool enough
Yeah, you can't drink the water that's in the sun heats up the water.
Drink, but it certainly had a distinctive taste. When is the last time that you've seen a kid do this? It's supposed to be
Yesterday. Yesterday is the last time I saw it.
unhealthy, yet here we are. But occasionally, I still take a sip from the garden hose.
Isn't there harmful? Come on, Duplass. This is what I'm talking about. Harmless chemicals or harmful chemicals. Well, then stop eating. Don't go outside. Right? Like, literally, George Carlin did a bit where he used to swim in the Hudson River. Okay? So you can get all that bacteria inside of him.
The garden hose was also connected to a couple other activities that parents today may consider them to be too dangerous. The first one was the slip and slide.
My son uses those too.
The older editions of the slip and slide were a little bit more dangerous, and some kids broke bones or chipped teeth on these, but just about everyone slid off the end or over the side and got a grass or rock burn. Believe it or
Duplass says I don't go outside. I'm white on the side. Oh, man.
not, they still sell these, but they are a little bit safer. This next item, however, I'm not so sure about. As kids, we all enjoyed playing in the water.
Yeah, but you don't stick your face up to the hose right when you turn it on, Jones. Like, you turn it on and you let it run for a bit. You got to get the warm water out of there. You got to get, like, oh my God.
Sprinkler, but some of these sprinklers could be pretty rough. This one in particular was really dangerous.
Well, no, that makes sense, right? The water bottle is a chemical, right? And if you leave it in the hot sun, the water bottle material actually breaks down into a closed capsulated bottle of water, which then you drink. That's worse for you than drinking from a hose.
It had a solid steel base that could certainly hurt if you stubbed a toe on it or fell on it.
Oh yeah, these things. I must have. I don't less than a handful of times, because you learn your lesson, right? Maybe 2 times by accident, scrape my toe. You know, my grandmother used to have this lawn in between, and she had a couple different sprinkler heads, right? I don't know if it was my uncle or if it was my grandmother, my great uncle or my grandmother, but they had the one that you do this, right? Would go back and forth, right? But then there was this, and it would shoot, and you would run through it, and you would, jump over it, and you would nick your toe, lose a toe.
But that wasn't the dangerous part. When the water ran through the sprinkler, it would move the metal fan blade at the top. At that point, it was like a little saw blade that was spinning fast on top, and it could cut through little water-soaked toes and feet.
You've never seen a sprinkler like this? Well, you didn't live. You didn't live, Argus.
Kids were fast learners, though. If they got cut once, they would be sure to clear it the next time.
That's right. That's right. Trial and error. Trial and error. You get hurt, you don't do it again.
Kids in our day used to be outside a lot, and we loved it. That worked out great because most of our parents really didn't want us inside the house anyways.
That's right, because you dirtied the house.
As a result, kids spent a lot of time out in the sun. And sunblock? We had no idea what that was. Are you talking about a hat or a shade tree?
Never use sunblock. Ever. Never.
At most, we may have depended on SPF 4, and that's only if we were super cautious. Everyone was exposed to the sun, and many...
That's... Do you see this? Hold on a second. Let me switch over to here. Do you see the whiteness? Look at the whiteness. Right? Look how dark that is compared to that, right? Like look at the right. Can't really tell in the thing, but my shirt looks like if I take my shirt off, it's white. But when I go outside, my arms and legs are like super tan. Just what it is.
Many of us would compare sunburns at the end of the day. When our skin started peeling,
the peeling of the skin. That's the best part about sunburn. The best part.
We would see who could peel off the biggest flake. Oh look, that one looks like Texas.
Yeah.
It also wasn't uncommon to see teen girls and young women laying out and trying to get that golden beach tan. Quite often, they would speed up this process by using either coconut oil or tanning
Right. Put the coconut oil or tanning oil on.
oil. Today, most kids get lathered up with anything from 30 SPF to 100 SPF. Parents in those days certainly didn't have to watch us like the parents do today. They not only trusted us, but they also trusted our friends and the rest of the community. Parents realized that we needed to do things on our own, and that was how we were going to learn.
That's right. Because if you don't do things on your own, then how do you learn? Right? If I teach someone, obviously, right? But they have to experience it for themselves. If they don't experience it for themselves, then you're really not really learning. You're just kind of, whatever.
However, if they were watching and we
100 SPF, otherwise known as a sweater.
happened to get hurt, there was no doubt that they were going to be laughing as long as it wasn't life-threatening.
That's right. If you weren't dead on the ground, they would laugh at you.
Bikes were everything to a Gen X kid, and
Bikes, man. I had this bike. Okay. To this day, I don't know how it worked. Okay. Just a regular dirt bike. Bought it from a neighbor. Had 3 speeds on it. Okay, 3 speeds. But it didn't have any gears. It didn't have any gears on it. There was no gears on it. But when you pedaled, it would automatically change gears. Right? It's awesome.
they provided us a freedom that we
No helmet, no elbow pads, no leg, nothing. Nothing. You just rode a bike.
couldn't get from anything else. We could go on adventures that were hours away from home, and for the most part,
Tennis ball on the spoke. What are you talking about?
our parents had no idea where we were at. We also used our bikes to jump some pretty shady ramps. We could do a lot with some plywood and bricks, and it was hours of energy.
One time. No, I didn't borrow anything. It was from Seal. Her son gave me. I didn't steal any bike. You're thinking of you and your friends, Sarge. The bike that I'm talking about was up in New York. It was Anthony's bike that he got too old and didn't want to ride it anymore, and they gave it to me. They're talking about stealing. I know what bikes you're talking about.
Entertainment. As we look back on our childhoods and compare it to modern kids, it's hard to believe that we did all those bike adventures with no helmet or knee pads. This picture pretty well.
I remember a time Sarge had a bike. Sarge riding the bike. There was these big hills where we used to live, right? A couple blocks over. And he did a wheelie off a curb, and then the wheel came off the bike. And the wheel kept going, and then there was no wheel. And then Sarge went, and then the front just dug into the ground, and he just destroyed his... I don't remember if your face got messed up. I remember your arms got messed up. I don't remember if your face got messed up, though.
Sums up the generation. This kid is jumping his bike off of a super tall ramp. Notice that he has no helmet, knee pads, or elbow pads.
Yeah, but did you see the father in the background over here? He's just watching.
That's just pure fun adventure. If this evil
You never want to be this kid. You never want to be this kid. He got the short end of the stick, though.
Knievel lands short, then the kid on the end is in trouble, and occasionally that did happen. As you look at the kids on the side, you can tell that they are worried about this because they've seen it happen themselves. But the best part about this photo is that
Yeah, the adult watching. Supervision. There? Hey, you're fine, kid. Get up.
there's a dad sitting on the front steps and he's smoking a cigarette while he's waiting to see who gets hurt first. For him, this is as good as any gong show on television.
Yeah. Yep.
Back in those days, cigarette smoke was everywhere, and you
Everywhere.
couldn't avoid secondhand smoke if you wanted to.
We used to, okay, so me and Sarge would go up to New York every summer, right? No parents. They would just put us on an airplane. And then the stewardess would sit down. They would check on you during the flight or whatnot. And this is when ashtrays were still inside airplanes. Okay, there was a smoking section and a non-smoking section and a tube in the sky. And I remember to this day, there was a guy with a stogie, okay, a cigar in his mouth, and he was just puffing away. And we were at the window and the middle seat, okay? Sarge got the window. I got the middle seat. And the guy was next to me on the aisle, okay? And he turned towards me and just smoke in my face. And this was a normal thing to happen then, right? This wasn't can I have a non-smoking section? There was just smoke and less smoke.
In fact, most of us had at least one parent that smoked. Parents would send their kids into convenience stores to purchase cigarettes while they waited out in the car. Usually the clerk would just
I never had to do this. My mom smoked. My dad didn't.
look out and get a nod from the parent, which would signal that it was okay to buy the cigarettes. If the parents were not around, then the kid probably needed a note from the parents saying that it was okay to buy the
Yeah, little Timmy here. He's okay to buy my cigarettes. Okay, that's cool.
cigarettes. These notes were never all that official, and it might be written on a notepad, scratch of paper, or the back of a receipt. Dear clerk, please sell Rhett a carton of cigarettes. Thanks, Mom. Can you believe that actually worked?
It actually did.
There's no chance that kids could ever do that today. Car safety was something else that most people didn't take too seriously. In the US, it became mandatory that every car manufactured after 1968 had to have seatbelts installed in them. But wearing them was more of a recommendation
Yeah, it's just a recommendation.
rather than a requirement.
Didn't really actually have to wear a seatbelt. Why would you have to wear a seatbelt in a giant car made of metal, right? There wasn't accidents like we have nowadays where the car wraps around phone poles. Like, you hit a phone pole with this car, the phone pole's snapping in half and just falling on top.
Until the mid-1980s. Until then, we stood up on the front seat so that we could see up over the dash, and our dad's arm was our seatbelt and the airbag.
My mom, we got in a almost a car wreck. We hit an oil slick in the middle of the road. Wasn't wearing a seatbelt. I was in the front seat, okay? And my mom's reactions, she just went, pah, just put her arm back and dug her hand into my chest, right? I didn't get injured from the car, from spinning around. We almost hit a tree. We just missed the tree, okay? But my chest was bleeding because her nails dug into my skin. And we used to do this all the time. In my dad's Oldsmobile that I talked about a couple weeks or months ago, right? The big giant Oldsmobile. This is what we used to do.
Another thing that we would do is lay up on the back dash and pick our noses as we looked at the cop car behind us. We thought it was super fun when Dad had to slam on the brakes and we came flying out of that back window and slammed into the back of the front seat.
That's a baby in the back window, by the way. The baby in the back window.
Back then, we had to learn how to take a fall, and the crazy thing about it is we couldn't wait to get back up there and try it again.
Loved it. My favorite thing as a kid. Getting in the back window of that Oldsmobile.
Pickup trucks were not as common as what you see today, and people that had
Yeah, I can
boats
put it in
would
Discord,
haul them
John.
with regular cars, even Cadillacs. And when Dad needed lumber, it was going on the roof of the car so that it could come home.
Our dad never made, well, I can't speak for Sarge, but my dad never made me hold wood outside the window that I can remember.
Would tie it down a little, but it was still our job to help hold the lumber down as it was stacked on the roof. So there we were.
Look at that. Look at that tree. That's like a Griswold. That's a Clark Griswold shot right there. Look at that tree on that car.
Standing up on the seat, halfway out the window, clinging to the lumber on top, while Dad had his hand on our waistband to keep us from falling out. Somehow his other hand was busy holding down the lumber on his side.
I don't remember ever helping with a mattress when I was a kid, though, Sarge.
Which is pretty incredible to think about. At the same time, he was also steering the car, shifting gears, and smoking a cigarette.
That's right.
It's no wonder that we thought he could do anything. Remember some of the other activities we did? We all had toys that are considered dangerous now, but back then it was completely normal. Lawn darts was one of those toys.
Yeah. Here's a giant syringe. Just throw those up in the air. You would throw them up in the air and everyone would scatter like roaches. You didn't want to get impaled by one.
That weighted sharp point.
You would have some asshole friend just be like, you're like, and you would just run.
Could penetrate anything if you didn't get the heck
go through your arm, your leg, your foot.
Out of the way. Clackers, click-clacks, or knockers had the possibility of shattering and sending shards of plastic flying through the air like shrapnel. Yet somehow, some of these clackers survived.
I remember those.
In fact, here is my pair from the 70s.
Those weren't dangerous. Come on.
Back then, we learned how to entertain ourselves with the simplest of things. Do you remember making long chains from soda and beer can pull tabs?
I did that once or twice.
According to what they say today, we could have been badly cut at any moment, yet most of us had minor cuts, if any. But one dangerous activity that we all did was kite fighting. Remember this one? You would fasten razor blades to the side of your kite and then swoop it down so that you could cut the string of your friend's kite. If you were successful, then that kite would keep flying forever.
Do kids still do pencil peg and stuff in school? They still do that? I have no idea.
But if your kite took a nosedive to the ground, then you better be quick and get out of the way of those razor blades. BB guns were...
Okay. So we used to take, right? We used to take Q-tips. Okay. You cut the Q-tips in half. You take needles. Okay. And you put them in through the hollow point of the actual Q-tip. Okay. From that point, okay, you would just heat up and melt so the Q-tip would melt to the thing. And now you have a dart. And you get the McDonald's straw, right? The McDonald's straw was it was a big straw. And the cotton end of it would stick nicely inside that. And now you had darts that you could shoot at people.
Another item that was quite common. Kids could go all over town with one on the front of their handlebars, and the BB wars would certainly get intense. Back then, we definitely did not have safety at the top of our list when those broke out. Firecrackers were certainly a lot more accessible than they are today.
BB guns. Okay. BB guns. I got in a BB gun fight. We used to just shoot BB guns, right? I had one of my brother's best friends shot me point blank in the ass with a BB. Okay. And I tried to cover it up until I was bleeding on my mom's kitchen chair, and then we all got in trouble.
Firecrackers were certainly a lot more accessible than they are today. It seemed like you could pop them off in every city and it was perfectly legal. Did you ever set off some fireworks and then place them into your Tonka truck and roll it into the driveway where some neighborhood girls were playing jacks so that you could get their attention?
Oh, the jacks. You get that in the... Oof. Legos had nothing on jacks.
No? Well, I guess that was just me then. Speaking of jacks, they were definitely something painful to step on if you were barefoot. Any parent today that complains about a Lego being stepped on has probably...
And he says, putting fireworks on the side of a cigarette and giving it to a drunk relative.
Never really stepped on a jacks. These things would completely hide in the shag carpet, and they were like
shag
little
carpet.
soldiers that were waiting to ambush you. With all that time that you spent on the
Oh my God, just looking at that, I just had a memory. Oh my God, that's the worst. Kids don't know the pain of this. You have not experienced pain until you got a pedal in the middle of your shin, and it was like a cheese grater. Oh my God.
bicycle, then I'm sure that you probably came in contact with at least one of these. One slip of the foot and this pedal could travel up your leg like a vegetable peeler. Kids today
He said vegetable peeler. That's close. Yeah. Oh my God.
they know nothing about that level of pain. Here is something else that could be really painful. These chairs were really comfortable to lay in.
Oh my God. I used to hate these chairs because you had to bend them forward to bend them back, if that makes sense. They had like little mechanisms, and it would go click, 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 click. And once you went back, you couldn't loosen, so you had to go all the way forward, right? Well, you would get your hand and you get your middle of your, oh my God. It would literally rip off skin. Just rip off layers and layers of skin trying to close this goddamn thing.
But when you got up, you had lines going all across your skin. But that wasn't the worst part. They were not the easiest to adjust. You had to bend them all the way in so that you could adjust them further out.
Back.
One wrong move and the hinges of these torture devices could snap down on you like a bear trap and take off a chunk of skin. Are these chairs even sold today?
Yeah, I don't know. Are they? Do they still make these?
Despite all the dangers that were lurking all around us, it really was a special time to grow up in.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Akuda Papa says, "Look in the chat." Can I show these, or is this for me to look at later? Is it safe to put on? Gen X was the beginning of the end. Do you think that the Gen Xers, when they had kids, Krebsy, they're the ones that made their kids weak? Is that why you're saying that? Yeah, I won't show them then. You know what I mean? Gen X spawned millennials and Gen Zers. Yeah. But for instance, I guess it would all have to depend on the people that were the parents, right? Because my son's not like this. Everything that's there, I pretty much let my son do. I mean, we don't have a back thing for the window for a car. But playing outside, drinking fire hoses, getting injured, doing all that stuff, I'm okay with that. Z says, nope, Boomer's fault. All the freedom to run everywhere. Yeah, I don't know. I do believe that as we get older, society is getting weaker. You know what I mean? Like, and then the people that are still kind of coherent where you are a rarity, I don't know if I am. I'll be honest. I think a lot of the stuff that's being taught now is not even being taught by the parents. I think a lot of parents, they don't want to be parents. Okay? And I'm not pointing any individuals out because I don't know anybody here personally, right? But like a lot of parents don't want to be parents. They use electronics to be the babysitter, right? And I used to watch TV. My parents worked 2 jobs each. Okay? We played outside a lot. We did a lot of stuff. We played games. I mean, that's why we got into games. Let's be honest. Okay, but at the same time, yeah, you have to be a parent. And if you're not a parent, then some people are not meant to be parents. But they became parents because 30 seconds was enough. I think unsupervised children are illegal. Yeah, you can't. That's happening now. Right? Like, you can't leave a kid unsupervised. You cannot leave a kid under the age of, 13 home alone. Like, think about that. The movie Home Alone is actually illegal, basically. Right? Hard times creates tough men. Tough men create soft times. Soft times make weak men. Weak men create hard times, etc. Oh, Dolphin, those chairs were crazy. Yeah, the helicopter parent doesn't want their kid to do anything. Like, no. It's like, calm down. Let the kid be a kid. Gen X turned into helicopter parents who were absent. These issues have been around since 2004. Well, I think it's again, I'm not going to break down what's right or wrong. I didn't have my first kid till I was 36. Okay? So, I didn't have kids young. There's a lot of people that have kids young, and they still want to be kids. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of people, there's some people that are young that are adults, that become adults faster. Then there's people that are young that have kids that are still young. And they're kids themselves. Raising kids. Right? And I'm not talking like a 16-year-old. Even at 22, 24, right? They're still immature. Right? If me and my wife had, because we could have a 21-year-old. Okay, let's be honest. Right? We could have a 21-year-old. Because we've been together for 22 years. Okay? So I could literally have a kid that's old enough to drink now. But I wasn't ready to have a kid then. She wasn't ready to have a kid then. We're going to make completely different spectrum. I had my kid at 19. Was engaged to his mom. About to be 13. I'm 32 now. Yeah. And let me tell you, when you're young like that, turns your world upside down. I saw my friends. I had a couple of friends that had kids young. They're not the same. They you know what I mean? There was a struggle for them. They're also not together with their the person they had the kid with. That's rough, man. That's a lot of stuff on those people. I know lots of friends. I had a friend of mine that got a girl pregnant in high school. Okay? He was 17, she was 16. Okay? And they broke up, okay? And then got back together. And broke up and got back together. They have 4 kids. They're still together today, but the point is there was a lot of this back and forth. They were struggling, man. Immature. Yeah. And you know what? And it's nothing against what I'm saying here against you, Argus. It's just we are not mature enough. Okay? You get put into positions that we set ourselves into, or we get ourselves, if it's on purpose or not on purpose, you put yourself in situations, and you don't physically know about what's going to happen until it happens, right? Hindsight's always 20/20. right? That's why I learned from all my other friends making mistakes, not making the mistake myself. I would have been a terrible dad at a younger age. Hell, I don't even think I'm a great dad now. I think I make mistakes. But I was 36 when I had my son. I look at it as I'm going to be too old, right? Hence why I try to do what I do now. Spend as much time with them as possible. That's exactly right, though, Kudababa. You don't learn unless you do. Argus says, having kids at a young is not smart. The person you are as a kid, along with the other person, is almost always a different person than you are growing to. Which is why young couples usually don't stay together. Right? Because you're living in that moment, right? Don't get me wrong. There's people that are high school sweethearts and stuff like that, right? Like you fantasize like everything's to be perfect. No. Life kicks you in the nuts. Life kicks you in the nuts, punches you in the face, shit happens. That's right. Well, technically, I didn't make the mistake, Jones. Right now, you have a PlayStation. You can play the 3. You can play the 4. You can play the 360. You can play the 1. You can play the GameCube. You can play the Switch. You can play the Xbox. I don't know. I don't know if that's a mistake. I had my first kid at 35. Been married for 10 years. Smart man. Smart man, Jones. Is your wife, if I may ask, older or younger than you? Or the same age? My cousin has been with his wife since he was 16. He's the most dedicated person I've ever met. But he will tell you, being a father changed him. Of course. Of course. I am definitely not the same person I was before I had my son. And that's at the age of 35. 36. Who you are, what you like, what you don't like, ambitious, all change as you get older. Oh, for sure. Like your taste buds. Yeah, you change. I see danger everywhere. We went to a birthday party last week with my son, and there was 65 people in the house, and this person's house had so many hazards, right? There was like little kids running around, and as they ran by, I was leaning up against the kitchen counter, right? And the kids were running by, and they're like, there's people in the way. So I put my hand over the corner, right? Just as an instinct, right? I just put it over the corner so kids wouldn't run their head into the thing. One kid, they were swinging. There's no adults. All the adults are inside. Okay, kids are outside, and I let this happen because, shit's gonna happen, right? There's like 6 kids on a swing. This swing is like a giant pen. 4 kids pushing it, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. 6 kids on the swing. They're going back and forth. Then one little kid, I want to say he's about 4, maybe a 4-year-old, comes wandering in there. Giant pendulum, here it comes. And there's no way. No one could stop it. Hit that kid. That kid went flying in the air. And you know what happened? He went, hit the ground. It was like, looked around. There was nobody. There was nobody except me. And I walked over to him, picked him up, and went, "You're all right, buddy." And he stopped crying. Okay? Because I wasn't coddling him. I mean, he got hit hard. 6 kids. I mean, they each, even if they weighed like 50 pounds apiece, like 300 pounds with the momentum, just swinging. Yeah, everything's a danger. Everything. We didn't baby-proof our house at all. We didn't put any things over the outlets. We didn't put any rubber things across anything. We didn't cover any of the corners. Nothing. My mom always did this thing when we were younger, and she's always done it throughout life. Like if a little kid, baby hits their head or something, like, oh, did you break my table? And they're like, they don't cry. They just look, no, I didn't break your table. Like she always played this little game with them, and it's fun. Like they don't start crying. They just look at you and like, no, my head hurts. Like I hit my head, and you're like, what, did you break my table? Did you hit your? They're like, no, I'm fine. Yeah. I feel like I'm at school reunion where everyone is married and having kids. I'm the only single guy here. Stay single as long as possible. Altern. And even when you're with somebody, if you're not single, don't have kids until you're ready. You can't baby-proof the house. Right. That's true, Travis. Let's be honest. Even at 45, Mike is still a big kid. True. It's true. Yeah. And especially when I'm hanging out with a 9-year-old. 45, 9-year-old, he doesn't become more mature. I just come straight down to being a 9-year-old. My wife was here. She could tell you. Have you seen the video of the girl going after Pinata? And she hits it once the kids run. She's also taking a second swipe. It cuts the Transformers Optimus Prime. Oh, yeah. She's swinging. One of the kids walks in to get the candy. I've seen those, yeah. But you're also never ready to have kids. No. Yeah. The moment you have kids, everything that you think that you would do is completely gone. I would do anything for my kid. When my kid's sick, I want to take that and absorb it. I want to try to make him better. Like anything. I will protect him I will lose my life to protect his life. 100%. No questions asked. Does he still kick your ass in Mario Kart? Yes, but I get closer. Some take all your money. Yeah. Can you blame Gen X or Sweet Baby Inc? Let's blame Sweet Baby Inc. Let's do that. As long as I can, as you can, I was with someone for 10 years, will make your life a living hell. Oh, yeah, you don't want to be on the opposite of that. You don't want to be with someone that you don't get along with. My wife hates it when people say with kids, say don't have kids or get married. Well, obviously, just to say don't have kids, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that saying like don't have kids. You shouldn't have kids if 1, you're not mature enough. 2, you shouldn't have kids if you don't have enough money or will to get money. Right? If you want to struggle, right? Like we could have had a second kid. But we would all struggle, right? We would all struggle. But we had one kid, and we can give the world to one kid, and we all also live within our means. That, and there's a bunch of other stuff that why we didn't have a second kid, right? But, like, each their own. Ginger Prime's got 6 kids, man. I couldn't do that. I could have 2, maybe 3, right? 6, right? God bless him, right? We have a cousin that's got 6. And then her sister's got 4 or 5. right? The whole family, two daughters, 11 grandchildren. A lot of people don't think living with the means. Yeah. If you guys could see it, we live in a very nice house. Like, it's small, feasible, right? Nothing. We don't live above our means. We're going on a trip to Tallahassee, right? This weekend. Like, we're taking a trip. This summer we're taking 2 trips, right? We're going on a family vacation with the in-laws and stuff, and then we're doing another trip with best friends and stuff. Right? We couldn't take these if we had more children. There's people that save up for 5 years, 10 years to go on a vacation. Travis says, I was just arguing with this guy last night about how I said I don't like something. People always go, why don't you like it? I don't have to explain it. I just don't like it, full stop. Yeah, well, but I think the question would be like, if you say you don't like something and they want to know why you don't like it, I mean, that's part of the conversation, Travis. I mean, sure, you'd be like, because I say so, but they're just trying to have an engagement conversation. If you bring something up, like, well, why not? Like, I usually take this road home, but I don't take that road home. Why? Because, well, what's wrong with the road? Like, nothing. Just, right? It's just a conversation part. We're saving up today, right? My kid's turning 10 this year in August. We're saving up, like, we started saving 2 years ago for his first car. That's like 6 years, 7 years from now. How's Elden Ring garbage? And I can go 100 reasons why. But at the end of the day, I don't like it. Full stop. Sure. Oh yeah, we already have it. Again, each their own. You guys raise your children how you want. I'll raise my kid. You raise yours. Everyone will be okay. Nine years is a blink of an eye, Travis. 6 years is nothing. Hell, just what we were talking about today. We talked about stuff about when the PlayStation was coming out, and it was in 2020. I remember talking about it a year and a half before it came out, and some of you were there. It's been 5 years. It's been 6 years. That's crazy. Dupless has been with me. You know, I chat since 2015, 2016. I've known Dupless 9 years. Dupless is definitely not the same type of person he was when he first started in my channel. So you've been here, what, 4 years? Water? 4 years? I wouldn't say he's worse, but I would say that he's grown. Travis. Dupless is a completely different person than he was when he started. When he started watching me, I think he was like 15, 16. Dupless, what, are you 24 now? 23, 24? Yeah, no, it's been that long, Dupless. Think about this, right? You started, and I know you've been here since then, because you started watching me when Battleborn and Overwatch came out, and that's before Fortnite. Mike raised a second kid. Now that I think about it, when did I get you when did I buy you a drink, Dupless, when we met? Was that 2018, 2019? You were 21 then. Yeah. There you go, 27. So he was 17. 17, 18. I was in the movies yesterday. They said 25 years of Phantom Menace. I was like, fuck, I'm old. Yeah. We watched Ghostbusters last night, and I was like, holy Christ. Times have changed. That whole movie. Just watching, like, the background and stuff. I was like, holy Christ. All right, we'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, play some video games. I got to figure out, I want to know, do you guys want to see me play video? I know a lot of you watch me play video games at night. My question is, would you rather me do the entertainment show in the evenings once a week? Or would you rather me do it like I do this in the morning? So we do like gaming in the mornings, entertainment in the evenings. Or do you like, and again, it doesn't mean I'm doing it, just, or would you like me to talk about entertainment stuff in the evenings? Or does Friday not work because it was late? Thursday's going to play Destiny? No, we're not playing Destiny. We're not playing Destiny. It is cool, though, that they brought the Ghostbuster stuff in. I think it's stupid also at the same time. Because does that mean Destiny takes place in the same universe as we have? Because Ghostbusters is part of it now? I like the morning and the news evening chill session, okay? Once a week, I think it's fun seeing you play games. You could always do a talk about movies while playing games. True. I'm trying to figure out the Friday thing. This Friday, we won't be doing it. So I think what I'm going to do is that Wednesday's at that floating day. So we'll play video games tonight and tomorrow. Wednesday instead of a podcast, because I still don't have a person lined up yet for the podcast on Wednesday. We might do the Friday show that I did last week on Wednesday this evening, this week. That way I'll have stuff, because I'm trying to build up the Nerding with 30 channel the same way I'm doing this channel. And then when we play tonight, that's going over on the 30 and Still Gaming channel. But it'll be live here. And I got to figure out, I know this is all shit you guys don't care about, but for some reason I can't stream on Nerding with 30 with the software that I have right now. I got to figure out to log out and log back in, but it didn't save any of my stuff. So I got to get that fixed by Wednesday so I can, otherwise I have to air it again on this channel, which I didn't like because it fucks up the algorithm. I mean, Bungie needs money. Well, of course, they always need money. People call him MM when he comes in here. Are you calling, are you talking about Melrose Mike? Is that what you're talking about, Eclipse? They charge $20 for cosmetic armor set. I just think it's weird. The crossover. I understand that Sony owns them, but a little weird. Oh, it's set per character. So it's $60 for all 3 characters. Jesus. All right, well, on that note, you guys enjoy your $60 microtransactions, and I'll be back tonight. I'm not sure what we're going to play tonight. Tomorrow night, we're going to be playing some Lightyear Frontier. That comes out tomorrow on Xbox. We're going to try that tomorrow evening. Tonight, I'm not sure we're going to play. Maybe we'll play some Helldivers tonight. So if anyone's available tonight, hit me up in Discord. We'll play some Helldivers tonight. Other than that, appreciate it very much. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for chatting with us. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. If I don't see you tonight, I'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. All this week, my son's off for spring break. So there might be interruptions in between or whatnot. And then there is no podcast on Friday with Lono. I'm out of town. He's out of town or he's doing something. So we're not doing that podcast this week. Other than that, everything else is the same. Appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.